Hey everyone, and welcome to Cowboys Versus Ninjas.
And I'm Julia.
This is the show where we bring you the most addictive stories of samurai and gunslingers.
We're going to be looking at these tales in a fun and epic way.
Yeah, with masterful storytelling that'll keep you craving more.
If you enjoy what you hear, don't forget to rate and follow for more Cowboys Versus Ninjas episodes.
Today, we're following a disgraced samurai and a rebellious fire spirit on their quest to find the legendary ice sword.
This one has conspiracies, scorching battles, and a twist that'll leave you speechless.
So buckle up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this Ronin named Kenji,
Right.
a masterless samurai haunted by a duel he couldn't avoid. He's all about order and control, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The source material describes Kenji as living a life of rigid discipline. He's burdened by his past and desperately seeks redemption.
Oh, wow.
It's fascinating how this desire for control clashes with the second character, Aiko.
Right, Aiko, she's a fierce fire spirit.
Untamed energy, rebellious spirit, and a knack for setting things ablaze. Literally, the source material describes her as trouble in human form, with eyes like burning coals.
Wow.
Quite the visual, isn't
He
it?
really is. So how do these two polar opposites end up on a journey together?
Well, it all starts when Kenji encounters Aiko cornered by bandits.
Okay.
While it seems like a straightforward rescue, Aiko isn't your typical damsel in distress.
Oh.
She's a whirlwind of fire and fists fighting alongside Kenji.
Wow. So she doesn't need saving it. I like that.
Yeah.
It seems like they might start off clashing rather than working together.
You could say that again. Their journey north to the location of the ice sword is filled with bickering and tension. Kenji, with his emphasis on discipline, clashes with Aiko's chaotic nature.
So they're searching for this ice sword, a legendary weapon said to quell any flame. Why is that important to them?
That's where their motivations intertwine. For Aiko, the ice sword represents a chance to control her powers,
Okay.
which have always been a source of both strength and fear for her. For Kenji, it's a path towards atonement. He believes that finding this legendary weapon will somehow erase his past mistakes.
So they're both drawn to the ice sword, but for very different reasons. It's interesting how a single object can hold such different meanings for different people.
It certainly highlights how individual perceptions shape our desires and motivations.
Yeah.
This is also reflected in how they approach their journey. Kenji is all about planning and precision, while Aiko prefers to act on instinct.
It's the classic reluctant allies trope.
Yeah.
Two characters forced together by circumstance. Do they eventually learn to work together despite their differences?
They do, but it takes a near-death experience and a lot of arguing.
Really?
During a particularly heated exchange, their clashing energies trigger an eruption of scorching steam from a nearby geyser.
Oh, wow.
Kenji is badly injured.
That's intense. It seems their internal conflict manifests in a very physical and dangerous way. Does this experience shift their dynamic?
Definitely. It's Aiko's fear for Kenji, seeing him vulnerable and hurt, that starts to bridge the gap between them. For the first time, she sees past his rigid exterior and recognizes his inherent goodness.
So the ice around his heart begins to melt, and perhaps Aiko's fiery nature becomes a little more contained. It's like they're starting to balance each other out.
Precisely. And as they continue their journey, this balance becomes increasingly important. Kenji teaches Aiko control, helping her to find stillness within her fiery nature. In return, Aiko helps Kenji to loosen up, to embrace spontaneity, and let go of some of his self-imposed restrictions.
This imagery of fire and ice melting and merging is a great way to visualize their character development.
Yeah.
It sounds like their relationship is becoming more than just a reluctant alliance. There's genuine care and understanding developing between them.
I think you're right. They are starting to see each other as individuals, not just as embodiments of fire or ice.
Right.
Their differences, which initially caused friction, are now becoming strengths they can use to support each other.
Okay, so they finally reach the mountains where the ice sword is said to be hidden.
Yeah.
I imagine things get even more challenging as they get closer to their goal.
Oh, absolutely. The source material describes the mountains as a formidable foe in themselves. Each glacier is described as a menacing presence, and the wind is a biting taunt. It's almost as if the environment itself is testing their resolve.
That's a vivid description. It paints a picture of a harsh and unforgiving landscape. It makes their journey even more impressive considering the personal challenges they're already facing.
And as they get closer to the ice sword, Aiko's flames start to weaken.
What?
It's as if the sword itself is testing them, pushing them to their limits.
That's an intriguing twist. It makes you wonder if the ice sword is more than just a weapon. Perhaps it has a will of its own.
Perhaps. And that's where we'll leave off for now.
Okay.
What stands out to you so far about Kenji and Aiko's journey?
Their evolution as individuals and as partners is fascinating.
Yeah.
They're learning to appreciate each other's strengths and recognize that balance isn't about suppressing one side or the other. It's about finding harmony between seemingly opposing forces.
That's a great observation, and it makes me wonder how this theme of balance might play out as they continue their quest for the ice sword.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I have a feeling things are about to get even more interesting. What do you think?
I think so too.
We left off with Kenji and Aiko facing some pretty serious challenges in the mountains. Aiko's powers are weakening, and the environment itself seems to be working against them.
Yes, the source material really emphasizes how isolating and treacherous their journey becomes. It's as if their internal struggle for balance is reflected in the external world.
So how do they overcome these challenges? What happens next?
They eventually find the cave where the ice sword is said to be hidden, but instead of a powerful weapon, they encounter an old woman.
An old woman. That's not what I expected. What's the significance of this encounter?
This is where the story takes a turn. Remember how we were discussing the idea of balance? The old woman embodies that concept.
Okay.
She's wrapped in furs, her eyes like ancient frost, and she speaks with a voice that seems to echo through the ages.
She sounds like a figure of wisdom and mystery.
She is, and she delivers a powerful message to Kenji and Aiko. Power lies within, not without. This simple statement completely shifts their perspective on their quest.
That's a profound realization. It seems to suggest that the ice sword isn't a literal weapon, but rather a symbol of inner strength and balance.
Exactly. The old woman isn't there to give them a magical weapon. She's there to guide them towards a deeper understanding of themselves.
Right.
She helps them realize that true power comes from within, not from some external object.
This is a powerful message that resonates beyond the story. It makes me think about how we often seek external solutions to our problems when the answers might lie within ourselves.
I agree. It's a reminder that self-discovery is often the most important journey we can undertake. And sometimes it takes an unexpected encounter, like meeting a wise old woman in a cave, to push us in the right direction.
So how does this encounter change Kenji and Aiko? How do they find this balance within themselves?
The source material describes a subtle gesture from the old woman that seems to unlock something within both Kenji and Aiko. Kenji feels an icy touch on the scar that represents his past shame, and it's as if a weight has been lifted from his shoulders.
Oh.
Aiko's flames, which have been flickering and weak, suddenly stabilize. It's not that she's lost her power, but rather she's found a new level of control.
It's like they've both shed something that was holding them back. Kenji has released his guilt, and Aiko has embraced her strength.
That's a great way to put it. And as they emerge from the cave, they're no longer just seeking a weapon.
Right.
They've transformed into something more. They've become symbols of hope in a world threatened by a powerful and insidious conspiracy.
We haven't talked much about the conspiracy itself. Can you remind us what Kenji and Aiko are up against?
Certainly. The conspiracy is a shadowy organization that has been manipulating events for centuries.
Oh, wow.
They operate from the shadows using deception and fear to advance their own agenda. Their goal is to disrupt the balance of the world and reshape it according to their own twisted vision.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
So Kenji and Aiko have gone from seeking a weapon to becoming weapons themselves.
Oh.
They're fighting for the balance they found within themselves and for the future of the world.
Precisely. But they quickly realize that they can't fight this battle alone. They need to find others who understand the importance of balanced individuals who can help them protect the world from this looming threat.
So their quest takes on a new dimension.
Okay.
They're not just searching for an object, they're seeking allies.
Exactly. They embark on a journey to gather a team of like-minded individuals.
Okay.
Their first stop is a hidden village tucked away in a bamboo forest.
Interesting.
The villagers are wary of outsiders, but Kenji and Aiko approach them with humility and respect.
They've learned that force isn't always the answer. Sometimes diplomacy and understanding are the best tools for building alliances.
That's right. And their sincerity wins over the village elder, a wise old woman who can control the wind. She senses their genuine desire to protect the world and agrees to join their cause.
So they've gained a powerful ally with a unique ability. I'm curious to see who else they'll find on their journey.
Their next stop takes them to a village nestled among hot springs. There they encounter a young man who can manipulate water. He's initially hesitant to join them, fearful of his own power.
It's understandable that he would have reservations. Power can be a burden as much as a gift. How did Kenji and Aiko convince him to join their team?
They share their own experiences, emphasizing that true strength lies in understanding and controlling one's abilities. They help him to see that his power is not something to be feared, but a gift that can be used for good.
It's interesting how their own journey of self-discovery has equipped them to help others find their own path.
It's a testament to the transformative power of balance. They've learned that true strength comes not just from individual power, but from supporting and empowering others.
So they've assembled a team with some pretty amazing abilities. It sounds like they're ready to take on this shadowy organization.
They are, but their journey is far from over. As they gather their forces, they're constantly pursued by agents of the conspiracy who will stop at nothing to prevent them from uniting these powerful individuals.
It's like a classic good versus evil showdown. But our heroes have something special on their side, don't they? They've learned to harness the power of balance both within themselves and in their relationships with others.
Exactly. And that understanding will be their greatest asset as they face the ultimate challenge ahead.
Their journey has been full of surprises and unexpected turns. What stands out to you most about their leadership so far?
I think it's their willingness to learn and adapt. They began their quest seeking power, but they've evolved into compassionate and understanding leaders who recognize that true strength lies in unity and collaboration.
It's a powerful message, and it makes me eager to see how they'll use their newfound wisdom and alliances to confront this dangerous conspiracy. What do you think? So we left off with Kenji and Aiko with this powerful team they've assembled, ready to face this shadowy organization.
Right. They've come such a long way from seeking the ice sword as a weapon. They understand now that true power comes from within and from uniting those who share their values.
But how do they actually plan to defeat this organization? I mean, they're up against a force that's been operating in secret for ages.
That's where their understanding of balance comes into play. Instead of resorting to brute force, they devise a plan to expose the organization's secrets to the world.
So they're fighting darkness with light, using truth as their weapon. That's a clever strategy, especially considering this organization thrives on secrecy.
Exactly. They realize that the organization's power rests on its ability to manipulate events from the shadows. By bringing their actions into the light, they can dismantle their influence.
So where do they even begin? I mean, this organization seems deeply embedded in the world.
Well, they decide to target the capital city,
It's okay.
a place teeming with the organization's influence. It's a risky move.
Yeah, putting themselves right in the heart of enemy territory.
Right.
That's a bold plan. But they haven't come this far by playing it safe. How do they manage to infiltrate the city and expose the organization's secrets?
This is where their team comes in. Aiko, with her fiery nature, creates a diversion drawing attention away from Kenji. While the city is distracted by this spectacle, Kenji uses his skills of stealth and cunning to infiltrate the organization's headquarters.
So it's a classic tactic. Create chaos to divert attention and then strike at the heart of the enemy. What does Kenji find inside the headquarters?
He discovers a hidden chamber, a vault of sorts filled with ancient scrolls and documents detailing the organization's long and sinister history. It's all there. Evidence of their manipulations, their web of deceit, their plans to destabilize the world.
Wow, it's the smoking gun they need to expose the organization's true nature. But how do they get this information out to the public? They need a way to reach the people to break through the organization's control over information.
Remember the Wind Elder who joined their team?
Yes.
This is where her unique abilities come into play. She summons a massive storm, a spectacle that draws everyone's attention to the capital city.
Wow, that's an amazing use of her power. It's both a distraction and a platform for their message.
Exactly. As the storm rages, Kenji appears on a rooftop illuminated by a bolt of lightning. He holds up the ancient scrolls and reveals the organization's true nature to the shocked crowd below.
I can picture it now. The wind howling, the rain pouring, and Kenji, a lone figure standing against the darkness speaking truth to power.
It's powerful imagery. What's the reaction from the people?
Yeah, what's the reaction?
At first, there's disbelief. People have been conditioned to trust the organization, to accept their version of reality. But as Kenji reads from the scrolls detailing specific instances of manipulation and deceit, the crowd's skepticism turns to anger.
It's amazing how quickly the tide can turn when the truth is revealed. It's a reminder that even the most entrenched systems of control can be challenged when people are awakened to the reality of their situation.
And that's exactly what happens. The public outcry is overwhelming. The organization's attempts to discredit Kenji backfire as their lies are exposed by the evidence he presents. People take to the streets demanding justice.
So the organization's reign of secrecy and control comes crashing down.
It does. The public outrage forces the authorities to act. The organization's leaders are arrested. Their network of influence is dismantled, and their plans for chaos are thwarted.
It's a triumphant victory, not just for Kenji and Aiko, but for everyone who has been affected by the organization's manipulations. They've managed to save the world not with brute force, but with the power of truth and unity.
Their journey, which began with a search for a mythical weapon, has transformed them into beacons of hope.
It really has.
They've shown that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, the human spirit can prevail.
What happens to Kenji and Aiko after all of this? Do they ride off into the sunset together?
The source material leaves their future open, suggesting that their journey is far from over.
Oh, really?
They may have defeated this particular threat, but the world is constantly in flux. The need for balance for individuals who are willing to stand up for what's right will always exist.
That's a great point. It reminds us that finding balance isn't a one-time event, but a continuous process. We're always facing new challenges, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
And it's up to each of us to find that balance, to cultivate the inner strength and resilience needed to navigate the complexities of life. Kenji and Aiko's story serves as a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to make a difference, to fight for what we believe in, and to create a more just and balanced world.
This has been an incredible story.
It has.
It makes you think about the true meaning of strength, the importance of standing up for what's right, and the power we all have to create positive change.
It's a story that stays with you long after you've heard it, inspiring you to look inward, to embrace your own journey of self-discovery, and to find the courage to make a difference in your own way.
What do you think, listeners? Are you ready to embrace your inner fire and ice? Let us know in the comments.
We'd love to hear from you.
And don't forget to rate and follow Cowboys Versus Ninjas for more addictive stories of samurai and gunslingers. We'll catch you next time.